There you go. Minister, we know that federal programs like the Youth Employment and Skills Strategy provide valuable short-term job opportunities. However, the data remains worrying. The number of youth not in employment, education, or training, otherwise known as NEET, is increasing, and youth unemployment remains structurally high. Simultaneously, businesses across the country are reporting a severe skills mismatch, struggling to fill hundreds of thousands of critical, high-paying jobs in the trades, technology, and healthcare. This suggests that simply increasing short-term placements is not building the career foundation young Canadians or businesses need or want. Minister, beyond the successful but temporary Canada Summer Jobs model, what national, long-term economic strategy will your department implement to address the country's high-demand sectors while ensuring that young Canadians are not just getting a job, but they are getting sustainable career pathway across every region of Canada?
Madam Minister.
Well, thank you very much for that question. And I would say, Madam Speaker, that it is incredibly relevant that the Senator speaks about data. And yet again, the challenge of provincial data not matching up with federal data and the data gaps that we continue to experience, which is why the Prime Minister's announcement during part of a tariff announcement was to create sector alliances. And sector alliances is, I would say, somewhat of a boring name for a very exciting concept. And what it does is it brings provinces and territories together with trainers, with unions, with colleges and universities, and indeed with stakeholder representation from the variety of sectors to understand better what the needs are going to be for that sector and better align the training and the opportunities for young people with what the sector is demanding. This is something that both employers and unions have been calling for a very long time, and we are in the process right now of designing those sectors. And I'm very excited to let you know that there will be a sector alliance on the care economy in reference to the previous question, which I think is so important because often care is the limiter for many other people's ambitions in a variety of different occupations.
Senator Mohamed.
Minister, I'll take boring if it means progress. So to that point, the OECD and ILO both identified public outcome dashboards as a gold standard for program accountability. With that in mind, will your government establish a Canadian national outcomes framework and public dashboard that tracks labour market metrics so Canadians can clearly see whether federal youth employment programs and investments are building real long-term career pathways rather than pathways to short-term paychecks?
Madam Minister.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And I would say that's an excellent question and idea. I would say that there are spaces where we are able to track investments, for example, through the labour market transfer agreements and the workforce development agreements that provide about $3 billion a year to provinces and territories for skills training. We have agreements with provinces and territories to be able to track earnings and earning outcomes through social insurance number data. Obviously, very important to understand how those transfers are resulting in better skills for Canadians. But to the point that you're making around investments directly from the federal government, I do agree that we can do a better job to make sure that the roughly, in this budget, for example, $1.2 billion that will be focused on youth-specific skills opportunities and training.
Merci, Madame la Ministre.